So you're looking for a way to do shoulder shrugs with resistance bands. Today, I'm gonna walk you through a couple of my favorite exercises that are going to focus on building those traps as well as helping you to fix that rounded over posture and give yourself a stronger upper back. So what are you gonna need for this? We're going to be using some 41-inch resistance bands. The first exercise that I'm going to show you uses 2 of these, and the second exercise uses 1 of these. You're going to want some different resistance levels, and for these, you're going to want something that's going to be a little bit stronger, seeing as your traps are generally a stronger muscle group, plus you have a pretty limited range of motion, so you're going to need some higher resistance to get these bad boys fired up. All right, so here's the quick and dirty on the trapezius muscle group, or traps for short. It is this big triangular muscle group that goes from the neck down to the mid-back and follows this line up out to the tip of the shoulder. And it's responsible for moving your shoulder up and down. That's primarily done by the upper traps, and then contracting your scapulas or moving your shoulders backwards, squeezing them together, that will get taken care of by these mid and lower traps. And the way that you hit each one of these muscle groups is dictated by how you perform certain exercises and at what angle the resistance is pulling. All right, so my favorite way to do shoulder shrugs with bands is to use a pair of 41-inch resistance bands with our Clench Fitness foot plate, as well as a pair of clench band handles. That'll make it the most comfortable, and it'll also get those handles out wide away from you so that when you're pulling up into the shoulder shrug, you're actually pulling and contracting that muscle in the direction of the muscle fibers rather than having it out in front of you and having your shoulders rolled forward. Because remember, having them rolled forward is not going to be contracting that trap as much as you want. So to set this up, it's very simple. You take one band, loop it through one of the handles on the clenched foot plate, and then you grab your handle and you hook one ear into each end of the band. And then you do that again for the other side. Grab a hold of your bands and stand up. And with this, the reason we're folding our bands in half is so that we can start with a high amount of resistance and that the resistance increases very quickly related to the stretch, because the range of motion on this is very short. We're only moving a couple inches, so we want to have a lot of resistance at the base and we want to have even more resistance at the top. So to do this exercise, it's just basically what I was doing. You want to get a nice shoulder width stance, firm base, pull your core in tight, engage those glutes, and then keeping a neutral spine, keeping your neck straight and in line, we're just going to grab these handles, and they're already being pulled into the downward position due to the weight, and then you're just gonna pull them shoulders up and try to touch your ears with them and squeeze it and then let it back down nice and slow. You might wanna start craning your neck. I know I do that a lot. Really force or fight and think in your mind to keep that neck in a neutral position so that you do not strain your neck. But ultimately, you're just letting it down, squeezing it back up. Nice and controlled. And you'll notice that the more time under tension, the slower you go with these reps, the more those traps are gonna get fired up because there's so much resistance on them. All right, and that is how you do the shoulder shrug with a pair of bands and a clenched foot plate. So now I'm gonna show that exact same exercise set up if you don't have a foot plate. We're gonna use a single 41-inch band and a pair of band handles. And I always use a pair of band handles for this because it is way more comfortable than not having a pair of band handles. And it gives you can hang on to a lot more resistance than you can with just your hands, even if you loop your hand through the band. So basically you're gonna slide your handles into your band, step on your band about shoulder width apart, making sure everything is nice and equal. And then you're gonna stand up, get about as wide a base as you can get, and then it's the same exercise. And you might need to bump that band tension up depending. And that's how you set it up without a foot plate. So this next variation is going to target a little bit further down, kind of in the mid-trap area. And we are going to be using a low anchor. So these are low anchor shoulder shrugs. And what that's gonna do is get the resistance out in front of us. So like before, we were doing shrugs basically straight up and down. Now we are going to be pivoted forwards, and we're going to be trying to basically keeping those arms straight. We're going to be retracting our shoulder blades and squeezing them together. We're not doing a row here where you get the biceps and lats involved. We're going to be keeping our arms straight, and we're just going to squeeze those shoulder blades together so you can feel like you're trying to pinch something between both of those shoulder blades while keeping your neck in a neutral position. So I have my band here, low anchor, one band folded in half, and I got a band handle on each side. And then I'm going to get into a position where I'm at roughly, probably about 30, 40 degree angle from vertical. And I have my feet out in front of me just to kind of take up some of that slack and keep myself into this position. Pull the core in tight, keeping that neck neutral. And then we're just pulling those shoulder blades back, squeezing, letting down slow. And again, keeping those arms straight. They can have a slight bend to them, but you're not trying to pull with the biceps or the lats. Keeping that neck in a neutral position. Big squeeze at the top. And that's how you do a low anchor shoulder shrug. All right, so if you like this video, be sure to smash that like button. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. And if you need any equipment that we showed in this video, we are going to link it in the description. All you gotta do is head over to clenchfitness.com and we will get you set up. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.